You are listening to the On the Blueline podcast, covering the National Hockey League and more hockey news. Here are your hosts now, Phil Bernardi and Chad Van Doorzen. Welcome to the On the Blueline Hockey Podcast. I'm Phil Bernardi, your host, and with my partner,
Chad Van Doorzen.
We'd like to welcome you. The date is August 18th of 2017. It's a Friday morning. Welcome. We're glad to be on the air with you guys. I just want to say, there's a little bit of news. Leon Draisaitl just signed with the Oilers. Chad?
I think it's a good thing. I mean, you need the 1-2 punch. Obviously, it's been effective for teams to win the cup.
Yeah, him and McDavid now are locked up for easily the next 8 years if neither of them get bought out. They are now tied with the Hawks. They have the biggest cap hit for two players at $21 million. Third is Montreal with Shea Weber and Carey Price, a defenseman and a goalie, so that's a little bit different than the top two. But still, nonetheless, the Oilers had to overpay a little bit to keep him in the fold and to kind of set the precedent over the Bruins with the David Pastrnak situation.
Yeah, Draisaitl, he played very well in the postseason. He was a huge impact. So, I mean, I think that's definitely worth it. It's right now, is he overpaid? Yes, but for the future, when he does prove what he's supposed to do, and that's what the Oilers are really banking on, and hopefully it works out.
Yeah,
I see money's gonna be worth it.
I see him and McDavid for the next 5 years easily. Being up there with the top 4 or 5. It's the best 1-2 punch, like you said.
But they'll get there. I mean, Crosby and Malkin obviously have been a huge effect to be able to take their ever since 2009, for a while that they're still at the top, but they slumped for a while. Now they're back, and it's definitely going to be a long road, and it's going to be exciting to see this 1-2 punch and what they build around them, because you can always find the pieces in the farm system, or depending on your development camp, can make all the difference for this 1-2 punch to be effective.
Very, very true. And now we want to get to the main course, which is our Eastern Conference preview. Now, we're just going to talk generally about some teams that we think are going to make it, and we'll single some teams out that we think are not going to make it initially. But, these are just predictions and outlooks.
Let's go.
So, who would you like to start off with, Chad?
Let's go New Jersey Devils.
Now, where do you think New Jersey's going to go?
I think that they're going to keep on sinking.
All right, yeah, I can see that as a definite being not in the playoffs. Same with the Islanders. I think they're just going to miss it.
I think that they're definitely on the right path, though. I mean, the Islanders did have a hot second half, but with not knowing what Tavares is going to be signed, I think it's going to be tough to know where you want to rebuild from there.
My other two teams are going to be Buffalo and Florida. They're the odd men out right off the bat, in my opinion. So then let's head towards the top teams. Well, I think Toronto and Tampa's going to take a huge step forward.
I think so.
Huge step forward. I mean, a healthy Stamkos. Now, a second year of Marner and Matthews in Toronto. And Freddie Anderson in goal getting better. They have a lot better pieces on defense. Toronto, I think, is going to be a lot better than they were.
Yeah, they definitely they obviously
out-hustled.
Yeah, out-hustled. They went above their expectations of last season. We didn't expect them to make the playoffs, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't. Mike Babcock is doing a great job with this team, and he did a great job with the Detroit Red Wings when he was there. And they're a team that was falling apart, and he still led them to the playoffs. With a team that's not falling apart and is on the rise, it's great to see. Now, with Tampa Bay Lightning, they bolstered their defense, picking up Sergachev from Montreal with the Jonathan Drouin trade. He's not completely unproven, but he's not proven. And I think that, at 6'3", he's a big defenseman. I think he's going to be a big bolster to the lineup.
I agree. Tampa Bay, and Vasilevsky in that. Tampa Bay is going to take a huge step forward. Mm-hmm. That you just mentioned, Sergachev. I mean, I think it was okay that they let Drouin go in that trade. They picked up a better defenseman, and they have Kucherov, who's going to be a lot better this year.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely an underrated player.
Mike Rupp, last night on NHL Tonight, mentioned that, He called Kucherov last year, I believe, the poor man's Patrick Kane. He in his words, he's not the poor man's anything anymore.
Not anymore, especially at the last season. He was definitely top 5 in scoring, and the he has a nose for the net any which way he wants to do it.
I mean, I really do think he's, going to definitely take the next step up, and same with Vasilevsky. So they're going to look really, really good.
A healthy Stamkos is going to help also.
So another couple teams I think are going to do well are the Rangers and the Capitals.
I agree. I think that they're going to be in the same position. I think that they're a great 82 game, team. But at the same time, when it comes to the playoffs, I don't know, it just falls apart.
I can see, the Rangers struggling early on in the season and then coming through in the end and carrying that momentum in the playoffs, going a few rounds at least.
Yeah.
They just have to get more offense, and Lundqvist obviously is not going to have the same year he had last year. He's going to be better.
I think that it's definitely going to help with Antti Raanta gone, knowing that there's somebody not knocking on his door, and it's going to relieve the pressure.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who the backup's going to be because Magnus Hellberg now is in the KHL.
Oh, yeah.
And he was in the minors, so, there's another guy who's not really going to be breathing down his neck, but more learning from him.
And, I think that's a great thing, too. It definitely relaxes the goalie situation that was tense last year. The Rangers are rebuilding on the fly, too. They're obviously, they're
trying to win one for Hank.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But, yeah, they have to rebuild on the fly because that's just how their salary cap situation is also.
Yes, when you have the stars that they have on their team already, and you're trying to compete with Pittsburgh, Washington,
And that brings us to Washington building on the fly also.
Yeah,
they have Ovechkin, Backstrom, Kuznetsov, Holtby, and speaking of the backup situation, they just re-signed Grubauer.
Mm-hmm.
Another German player along with Leon Draisaitl.
Oh, yeah.
So I think with Washington, they just have to be better defensively. They can't leave Holtby out to dry so much.
Yeah, I don't know what happens, but they definitely like to fall apart in that postseason, and I thought they were definitely a team that's gonna.
Well, it's like a virus out there right now with collapsing in the postseason. It hasn't gone away until they can, really win a few rounds.
I really think it calls for better leadership on that team. I think that's the one thing that they're missing. Like, Ovi's he could play two ways, but the one way he plays is offense, and he scores goals. I think that I don't know who should take the captaincy role. But at the same time, I don't know if it should be Ovi.
Now that brings us to the next two teams. Pittsburgh for sure. And then I'm going to say Ottawa. I think they're also going to take a huge step forward. So now Pittsburgh, obviously, repeat defending champs. Going for the three-peat.
Yeah, they added Ryan Reeves. And
now they're going to get Letang back.
They're getting Letang back. Their defense was definitely hurt last year, and if they can stay healthy, their defensive corps, they're going to be even more effective than last year. They're building up on toughness, and they still have a good North and South game.
And I think, Matt Murray isn't going to have to be worrying so much about the Fleury situation. Is he going to have to worry about, filling some big shoes? Yeah, but he also has won them 2 cups as a rookie and a sophomore.
But has he played 82 games yet? So he's a good postseason player.
Yeah, but he's come through in the postseason, but can he make it through the regular season and then the postseason? You're right. He was also injured a little bit of the last postseason, taking a puck to the knee. So he's still, untested, but we've seen definitely what he can do.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Now for Ottawa, they're going to pick up where they left off, if not better. They have the addition with Johnny Oduya, having 2 Swedes being able to communicate to each other. That's very effective when you can, you have somebody from your home country, living with you or working with you, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah, I think with Ottawa, they also locked up a lot of their young stars. I saw that Dzingel got a deal over the summer, a little bit after I met him at Craig Anderson's camp again. And I think
Is he a good guy?
Anderson, yes, Dzingel's a nice guy, a wonderful kid from the Chicagoland area. Same with Anderson, another great guy from the Chicagoland area.
Oh,
We like to promote our Chicagoland guys on the show. Got to mention a little Scott Darling later.
Oh yeah, another Chicago guy.
But until then, yeah, I see Ottawa doing great things with their young players. They just have so much energy, and they have a really good coaching staff with Guy Boucher.
Now, how do you think the GM Bob Murray dying?
Oh, Brian Murray passing.
Murray.
Rest in peace, Brian Murray. But man, he was there coaching when they went to the Cup final in 2007. A couple wins away from winning the Cup that year.
Big piece of the organization.
Last year, making a big run. That would have been, what a story that would have even been on top of the Anderson situation. It just, I think they're going to do great things this year, though. Condon's signed the backup.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's actually going to be a really good tandem this year in net. Anderson and Condon. 2 Americans, by the way.
Also,
so
you
got to like that.
Yeah, and you also have Mike Hoffman that's going to probably pick up from where he was last year.
Mark Stone,
Yeah.
Cody Ceci, JG Peugeot. Peugeot's going to be a lot better this year.
Yeah, that's another guy I know that you're looking forward to.
He's a little ant out there, man. You just don't know where he's going to be, and he's just flying around.
4 goals in a postseason game.
Yep. They were telling there was obviously a sarcastic tweet, but build the statue. I mean, that's pretty epic up there for a Suns player, getting 4 goals in a game.
Oh yeah.
So I think they're going to do great. And then, as we mentioned Darling earlier, I think the dark horse team this year is the Hurricanes.
Oh, I agree with that one. Their defense, of course, is built up and ready.
Yep, they just got Trevor Van Riemsdyk from the Hawks. They also got Kruger from the Hawks through the Knights. So they added a few Hawks.
Hey, a lot of those teams are doing that. So
yeah, a lot of teams. Most recently the Pittsburgh Penguins, Trevor Daley. Look how that did. They got him a cup.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it all starts with the defense corps. And
I think with having Cam Ward and Scott Darling as the goaltenders, that's also going to be a really good tandem. I think I can see Darling playing 60, 65 games.
Yeah, just give Cam Ward some rest, too. I'm sure he'll feel
he's an old goat, too. He's been in the league now 10, 12 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He was a rookie when they won in 2006.
Yeah, it's hard to. I guess it's hard for them to let him go, just because he's a good goalie. He's tough to replace, but especially when you have that rookie campaign that he had.
Yeah, he's like a franchise star.
Yeah.
Like a Fleury situation almost now, which is. You heard it here first. Which is it's not such a good idea to throw around, but. I would hate to see that become a distraction, especially if Darling's playing well. It's good to see him finally get a shot too. Just like Anderson got a shot. It's good to see a lot of these guys getting shots. Finally getting their time to be in front of the twine.
Yeah, it's always it's bothersome seeing a good, capable starter be a backup and.
Yes. Yes, very much so. It's going to be nice to see Condon get his moment. He will. He's definitely been learning throughout the league. He was behind Carey Price when Price was injured in Montreal a few years ago.
Yeah, he's real famous for that big save in the Winter Classic against Boston.
Yeah, he had another one where he hit the puck with his blocker behind the back. a little crazy move, but I think, out of those teams, the ones that aren't going to make it, unfortunately, Florida, Buffalo.
Buffalo, I think, is going to be another contender, though.
Yeah, I could see them and Philly maybe being contenders, but I could see them also sinking hard like New Jersey.
Yeah. Well, they got a new coach now, so,
I think
Buffalo,
obviously Columbus is going to take a bit of a step back. The Tortorella experience can only last so long, I believe. You can only yell for so long. But I think he started to evolve as a coach also. So I'll lump them in there as a dark horse also with Carolina.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. I know that Wenberg hasn't been signed yet.
Yep, that's another guy who had to wait for the Leon Draisaitl signing apparently. So it's going to be interesting between Pasternak and Weinberg to see what those deals are. Well, apparently, Boston offered 6 years, $36 million to Pasternak, and no way he's going to take $6 million a year after seeing what Draisaitl got for 8 years.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, he's a proven guy, and he's been in good situations too. But he's also he's got good hands. He knows what to do, and I mean, he's proven that he can score at a young age already.
I think Detroit and Boston aren't going to make it, unfortunately.
Not Boston.
No, I think Boston's not going to make it. I don't see Marchand having another great season like he had. I could see him having a good season, but not the same level as last year.
I think that they're going to keep up with what they're doing. Yeah, they have the veterans that are, aging, but they also got the young talent with the young coach there who's been there with them in the AHL. I think that they could do some good things still.
Yeah, so there's a lot of teams that, can go either way here and there. These are just predictions, early outlooks.
Oh yeah.
We obviously,
Now, what do you think about the Philadelphia Flyers, and what would you say? I mean, you said about the Columbus Blue Jackets falling.
I don't think the Flyers are going to make it. They have Brian Elliott now. I'm not too high on Brian Elliott as a goalie, as a starter especially.
Yeah. And their defensive
and
corps are turnover machines.
Yes, him, Neuwirth, and the defense. That's one big poison pill.
Yeah.
But, so out of the East, for the teams that we did mention, well, here's the Stanley Cup odds. Penguins 9-1. Capitals 10-1. Leafs 16-1. Bruins 16-1. Rangers 18-1. They have the Bruins at 16-1 odds. I don't know, with Tuukka Rask and Anton Hudobin in that, Rask should have a better year. Chara's on his last legs.
Yeah.
It's all up to Pasternak and Marchand basically on offense, because Krejci and Bergeron are really up there in years now.
They're up there, but I still see Bergeron as an effective center. Still can see that. Krejci is, I don't think he's played a full season, maybe ever since they won the Cup.
Yeah, he seems to always miss games here and there. Usually for like a leg injury.
Yeah.
Or, like a wrist because he's a center. But I don't know with Boston. I can see him going either way.
Yeah. Let me pull up their roster really quick.
But with Philly, I don't see them making it at all. Unfortunately, just with the goaltending tandem, the defense, their forwards, they can score, but they're not going to be able to score as much as they'll need to have with the defense and goaltending, letting up more goals than they'll be able to score.
Yeah, I can see that.
So you said you brought up the roster?
Yeah, like you said, Brad Marchand's a big piece. You have David Pasternak. Krejci and Bergeron are still at the top of this team, and along with one guy who I didn't think of is David Backes.
Yeah, David Backes, he's up there in years also. He's a really good nut front presence. He sort of found a little bit of a fountain of youth there last year, but I don't know, man. I just can't get past them. They just don't have a roster bolstered enough.
But yeah, I think that they're
still lacking pieces.
Yeah, I mean, you could put them in not exactly the Buffalo and Carolina
more
category,
Montreal.
Yeah,
which is funny since they're rivals.
Yeah,
they have solid goaltending, really decent defense. They just don't have the forwards, so to say.
Yeah, exactly. It's been that way for a while. I mean, the Montreal is always mixing up like how they wanted to win. They're like the Cubs of baseball. Montreal. And,
Yeah, that's true. A storied franchise, but unlike the Cubs, the Canadians have won it numerous times.
yeah, so a slight difference, but yeah, I mean Montreal's like
I
the
would
team.
say that's a big difference. Come on, Chad.
Uh,
They were the last
Good
team
catch.
to win the cup for a team in Canada.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, keep thinking about it. But I do agree. There are some teams, Buffalo, Carolina. They can do things. They can't do things. The Islanders, Devils,
well, whole song's coming up for the Islanders.
Flyers. I just don't. I don't see those three. Florida obviously is going to get squeezed out.
They lost all their scores. I mean,
They're rebuilding. They're rebuilding for sure.
yeah.
Dale Talon's back. He's going to start the rebuild process.
Yeah, I tell you what, like, if he didn't move, I mean, Florida might be in the same spot that they were in maybe 2-3 years ago when they made the playoffs. Now they got this new GM. They fired that coach, Gerard.
Yeah, and Gerard Gallant. Excuse me.
Yeah, he was a big loss. Like you said, he was good with the X's and O's, and I feel bad for Florida because that's a huge step back by this GM. Getting rid of him and trying to find his guy, because that's what a GM does when they take over the spot. They want to fill in their coach, their ideas, not what was prior to that, and
Right.
wrong guy for the job.
Excuse me. And yawn a little bit there. But yeah, like you're saying, the GM wants to get his coach in there and make sure his coach has what his coach needs for his coach's system.
Right.
As far as players. So the thing is, both the GM and the coach have to work together. But if they don't, so the coach obviously going to be the odd one out unless the GM gets fired.
Yeah.
Which usually is rare, but then like you said, that new GM will come in and put in his guy. So then the cycle starts all over again and puts you back a few more years.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate for Florida too.
Yeah, they were having a pretty good run. They looked to be on the up and up, and then now they're going to start the rebuild. But I really don't have anything else more on the Eastern Conference unless you do, Chad. I think we covered a lot of bases here on who we're going to have make it, who we're not going to have make it, and who our dark horses are.
Yeah, I mean I think that pretty much covers it.
Also, a little breaking news earlier with that Oilers contract.
Oh yeah. I think it'll work out.
Yeah, I can't wait to see them. And next week we'll be previewing the Western Conference, so we'll make sure to mention the Oilers for sure because they're on the up and up, a lot of the up and up. So for myself, Phil Bernardi,
Chad Vanderson,
will be coming to you next week. I believe. Let's see what that date is. August 25th.
Yeah, we really don't know.
Yes, it's okay. But you can also find us on jedcastradio.com, WJOB 1230 AM, 104.7 FM, WJOB 1230.com. We're on our YouTube channel at On the Blue Line. We're on Facebook at On the Blue Line, Twitter at Blue Line Podcast. We're also on Instagram at On the Blue Line Podcast 0. What were you trying to say there, Chad?
Oh yeah, who's our sponsor again?
We welcome our sponsor from the state of hockey. The state of hockey is Minnesota due to numerous amateur and collegiate hockey teams as well as the Minnesota Wild. Thank you for pointing that out to me, man.
Dude, I almost forgot.
Had to get all our sponsors in there. We also, we like to post updates on our Facebook page about what's going around around the league.
Mm-hmm.
Along with on our Twitter account, is for the breaking news, because apparently that's where all the reporters are, is on Twitter.
Yeah.
Which
people
I don't know.
Ever get off Twitter now.
I really don't understand social media too much, but I get it right there.
I stay away from it a lot. For this, I like.
You're a funny cat, Chad. You're a funny cat. But
I don't know what it is.
Until the 25th, enjoy your weekend and your work week, folks. We'll be back August 25th, like I said, next Friday for another episode of the On the Blueline podcast. It'll be our Western Conference preview. And then, training camp's coming up, so we can give some Stanley Cup predictions once we see some rosters coming out.
Yeah, maybe some up-and-coming players.
That too, yeah. Well, there'll definitely be some prospects to see on the horizon. So, again, for myself, for Phil Bernardi,
Chad Van Dersen.
we'd like to say thank you again for listening to us and enjoy your weekend, folks.